Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. This is the show where I go over all the news in the world of entertainment and pop culture, especially for you guys. All of these news stories and features are featured and are on Small Screen, which I am the editor of. I am Edward Lauder. You can find Small Screen at small-screen.co.uk. You can also follow me at EJ Lauder on Twitter. And if you can like and subscribe whilst watching this on YouTube, that'd be brilliant. If you can also like the video on Facebook and follow and like the page on Facebook as well, and do whatever you guys are doing on Twitch. Because I still haven't really worked out what you guys do on Twitch. You can also find this show as a podcast. If you would rather listen to this as a podcast, you can do that wherever you get your podcasts, and that's at Small Screen Stories. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then please give us a 5-star rating. That would be wonderful. Now let's get straight into the news after all that preamble, and that's that Deadpool 3 is confirmed to be R-rated and also set in the MCU. And this has been confirmed by none other than Kevin Feige. So the kind of big cheese over at Marvel has confirmed that the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie is going to be not only R-rated, but also set in the MCU. So this is something that we've been wondering about for quite some time now. What's actually going to happen with this this really quite interesting movie that we've got on our plate at the moment? Is this something that is going to be R-rated? Well, yes, it is. We've been wondering about that for a long time because, well, Marvel films up until now have not been R-rated. There hasn't been a Marvel Studios movie which has been R-rated in this new kind of MCU. There have been a couple before, but no, this is the very first one. And what is it going to be set in the MCU, or are they going to have it MCU adjacent? Well, that's still to be figured out, really, but as far as Kevin Feige is concerned, it is going to be set in the MCU. So let's just go over to the site now. So this was in an interview he did with Collider, and here is what he had to say. So it will be R-rated, and we are working on a script right now, and Ryan's overseeing a script right now. It will not be filming this year. Ryan is very busy, is a very busy and very successful actor. We've got a number of things we've already announced that we have now to make, but it's exciting for it to have begun. Again, a very different type of character in the MCU, and Ryan is a force of nature, which is just awesome to see him bring that character to life. So in that quote, you've basically got everything, all the information you need about what's going on with this Deadpool 3 movie. It's happening. They're writing it. So I think it's the Molyneux sisters that are doing it at the moment. It was announced maybe a few months back now, a month back, that they're doing it. So it's not going to be Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese. Which is rather interesting because they did the first two movies and actually been very successful working with Ryan Reynolds in the past. But no, it looks like Ryan Reynolds and possibly Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige want to kind of get some new blood in. So they've got the Molyneux sisters working on that. Ryan is overseeing that script as we speak. It will not be filming this year, which is another bit of news that we didn't know before. So no, it won't start filming until probably 2022. And then it's going to be R-rated, and it's going to be in the MCU. Big news. Big news. This is something that I am really, really excited about because I love Deadpool. I think the Deadpool first two movies are really, really quite good. I really loved the first film. The second film was fine, but I'm a big fan of, to be honest, both of them together. I think they're solid films. I was, if I'm going to be like, what's my favorite comic book movie of all time, I always say the same one. I always say that it's probably Logan, which was also R-rated actually. But then Ryan Reynolds went on to offer insight into how he managed to get Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios to agree to do this film. So he then took to Twitter and said, full disclosure, I showed them Spider-Man 1 and 2 and told them it was Deadpool 1 and 2. So, of course, that's a joke, but this is something that Ryan Reynolds likes to do, and I'm pretty sure that Kevin Feige would know that he was watching Spider-Man 1 and 2. But what do you think of all this news about the upcoming Deadpool 3? Are you excited to hear that it is R-rated, that it's going to be set in the MCU, that Ryan Reynolds is really, really working on this hard, and that they're writing the script as we speak? Let me know in the comments below. Right, moving on to the news that Venom There Be Carnage is rumored to be R-rated. So where does this news come from? I need to find the article again. So this is something that a lot of people have been talking about for quite some time now. Of course, Venom 2, or Let There Be Carnage, is being directed by Andy Serkis. It's going to see... it's from We Got This Covered. So as I always say, take this with a pinch of salt with We Got This Covered. But the thing is, they have gotten things right. I mean, just looking at the Disney Investors Day presentation, a lot of what was revealed there was actually leaked previously by We Got This Covered. So maybe look at that website with in a slightly different angle than what we were in 2019 and 2020. They have some pretty good sources over there, and they have proven to be correct in the past. Well, anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, it's going to star Tom Hardy, who's back as Eddie Brock. Andy Serkis is directing the film, which I'm really excited about, and Woody Harrelson is playing Carnage. Cassius, I can never remember his name. If someone in the chat can remind me what his actual name is, because I don't want to start searching whilst I'm doing this live. But so there are lots of reasons to be excited for this, because it's a film that, first off, full disclosure, I was really, really happy with the first film. I know a lot of people thought it was a bit, crap, which, yeah, it kind of is, if you're going to look at it as far as if you're going to look at it as any kind of ordinary comic book film, then yeah. But I actually thought it was quite a lot of fun, and I actually really, really like Tom Hardy's performance in it. I think it's weird. I think it's a Venom film, so what else do you expect? It's going to be weird. It's kind of, the tone was a bit all over the place. It was trying to be funny. It was quite gruesome in places, but I kind of liked that. It's something that we haven't seen in a long time. It did feel like a kind of older comic book movie, but I didn't mind it as much as other people did, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what someone like Andy Serkis can do with Let There Be Carnage. And also, I'm interested to see what they do with Carnage. And yes, it being R-rated kind of makes sense as far as I'm concerned. It can't really be anything else at the moment. And Sony Pictures, of course, it was originally going to come out in 2020, which is weird, thinking we'd already have seen the Venom movie in a non-COVID world. But they've also had a lot of time to work on this, so that makes me feel better about the film as well. I actually have a bit more... what's the word? I have a bit more faith in Serkis actually than Ruben Fleischer, who directed the first film. I haven't, apart from Zombieland, I haven't really liked many of his films, and Venom. But there's something interesting in this. I think there's something very interesting in Andy Serkis and Tom Hardy working together. And R-rated makes sense. It's also being rumoured that the trailer is coming later this month. So that was actually posted by a Twitter user called Venom Movie News. So they also put a video in there which seems to show the title card of the film. So probably the title card of the trailer. It looked very much like the first film, with just Let There Be Carnage coming up at the end quite slowly. So these are things, that it seems as though things are moving ahead with this film. I believe it's supposed to be coming out in June. It was pushed to 2021. I think it's June 24th, I believe. I think I'm right on that. So hopefully that film will actually manage to come out in cinemas. Hopefully by then cinemas will be open again. And this actually leads me into my next bit of news, which is Jared Leto's Morbius film has been pushed back to October 2021. So it was originally coming out on March 12th, but now it looks like cinemas won't be open by that time, which is a shame because I really, really want to go to a cinema. But this is, again, it was from Deadline. They reported that it's now going to be coming out on October 8th, 2021. So again, I'm not worried about this film so much, but I don't think it's going to be that incredible. I really want it to be, but Morbius isn't a film that I am like really, really looking forward to. I'm curiously optimistic. I'm actually just very curious about this film because I think Jared Leto is a really good performer. I think he's a really, really good actor. I think he's also actually quite a good musician. But there's something about him and the Morbius role. I think he kind of seems perfect for it on paper, but these Sony movies, they haven't. I mean, even though I liked Venom, it was a guilty pleasure. I can look at that film and be like, it's not a good film, but I enjoyed it. So maybe that's what these films are going to be. They're going to be kind of bad movies that are quite enjoyable to watch, which actually, you know what, I'm fine with. But I would like, if they have someone as big, like they have like Tom Hardy connected to these films. They have, in these movies, they have Jared Leto in these films. They've got big name actors. They've got I actually can't remember who directed Morbius now off the top of my head, but they have been able to bring in some pretty big names to direct these films as well. So I'm excited for Morbius. I hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for this film. As I said before, I'm curious. I'm curious about this film. I'm optimistic about it, but then again, I'm not expecting too much from it. So maybe that's the way you should go into it. Just don't expect too much from it. Right, moving on. And moving on to a rumor that Lucasfilm wants Chris Pratt to play a young Indiana Jones. So this, I believe, comes from Daniel Rickman. Yes, it does. And so Daniel Rickman is someone that just he just kind of puts out scoop after scoop after scoop. But he puts it on a Patreon page, and you have to be a subscriber. You have to pay him for his scoops. Full disclosure, we here at Small Screen do not pay him. We tend to get them from other outlets that post them, because I kind of don't like I mean, if he really is an insider and if he really has all this information, then that's fine. But I kind of don't always trust. He's a bit hit and miss. Let's say that he's quite hit and miss. But he has got stuff right in the past. So this whole thing about what's going to happen with Indiana Jones after Indiana Jones 5. Well, he's now reporting that Chris Pratt is being looked at for the role of Indiana Jones, so they can go back to kind of Indiana Jones in his heyday. So it's not so much a young Indiana Jones, it would just be Indiana Jones like when Harrison Ford first started the role, which basically means he's going to be playing Harrison Ford again. So the last time that happened, it didn't turn out too well. You know, Solo, a Star Wars story, didn't do as well as Lucasfilm wanted it to do. The thing is, I actually think that film's not bad. I think that film's quite good. Is that really going to work? I don't think it would work. I really think Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford isn't really going to... I don't think people are going to watch it. Even if Chris Pratt is in it, Chris Pratt is a big name. The problem is that he's already basically playing Indiana Jones in the Jurassic World movies. So we've got that, and we've got the next one coming. We've got Jurassic World Dominion coming. Is that... I think it's Dominion, not Domination, it's Dominion. Do people really want to see him play basically the same character again? Not really. I also don't know whether Chris Pratt quite has the... I suppose it is like a sophistication that Harrison Ford had at that time. I really think... I rewatched a number of the Indiana Jones movies over the Christmas break, and that he is so good in those films. And I really don't think you can replace him. You can do something like a spin-off, maybe, and probably have Chris Pratt in those. But I don't think you can have Chris Pratt just playing like a straight kind of Indiana Jones, basically replacing Harrison Ford. I don't think that would work. But the rumor's out there, so I just wanted to let you guys know. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on to The Flash. So The Flash producer, Barbara Muschietti, who's the wife of Andy Muschietti, who is the director of the movie, she posted a rather interesting, post image on Instagram with her, I believe it is her husband. I believe it's Andy who's in the picture. So I'll bring up the picture for you guys. Here you go. So they're wearing some interesting socks. Of course, that's Barbara there with her Flash-themed socks and a sock, and that is Andy, I believe. And what you'll notice here is that Barbara's sock is referring to the Reverse Flash. Those are the Reverse Flash colors. That's the Reverse Flash logo, and this is I do think that's Andy. This is the Flash, just straightforward. So what does this mean? Well, she wrote obrigado on it, which is thank you, I believe, in Portuguese. So basically saying thank you for the socks, I think is what she was saying. I think someone sent her the socks. But, I mean, does this mean Reverse Flash is in the movie? Is she teasing that Reverse Flash is in the movie? Maybe. I think it's more that she received the socks, thought they were cool, wanted to wear them, wanted to put them in a picture. The thing is, they would think about this long and hard. I'm pretty sure that Reverse Flash is going to be the main villain in the Flash movie. Mainly because if they're adapting... It's a Flashpoint movie, I think, in all but name. The thing is that Reverse Flash is such an important villain for the Flash. Who are they really going to pit up against like the Flash in this upcoming movie? Especially if they're exploring the multiverse. Why are they exploring the multiverse? The only reason I can see that would work is that Eobard Thawne is involved, who would probably be exploring the kind of... Eobard Thawne is an interesting character in his own right, not just as the Reverse Flash. He's constantly playing with time and genuinely going through the Speed Force to go back and forward in time, and that's what a lot of Flashpoint has to do with. But then that ends up going into the multiverse and different Earths, so it's very much tied to Reverse Flash. That to me just makes me think that he will be in the film. There have been rumors actually that there might be a female version of Reverse Flash, and that could be played by Jessica Chastain, which I think would be really interesting. Now, Jessica Chastain has a very, very good working relationship with the Muschietis. Of course, she was in the It Chapter 2, but before that, she was in a horror film that he did, Mama? Was it called Mama? Again, I'm struggling with some of the names today. But if you know what horror film she was in that Andy Muschietti directed, I think it was definitely produced by Guillermo del Toro, and she was definitely in it. And I think it was called Mama. But I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking it was really good. But she's someone that likes to work with these guys. She loves to work with the Muschietti. So bringing her into this and having her play the villain, playing a female version of Reverse Flash, I think would be fascinating. I think it'd be a nice little twist. And she's a brilliant, brilliant actress. So I'm all for that. I like that rumor a lot. Again, it's a rumor. I haven't been able to track down any more information on that. But once I do, if I do, I'll let you know. I hope that is the case. And I really do hope that they bring in Reverse Flash. We already know that Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton are going to be back. So they're playing their respective versions of Batman. And that's more to do with the multiverse. It's also been rumored that Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne will have a lot more to do in this film than we believe. I think as far as I'm aware, and what I've been hearing, is it's much more than just a cameo. He's actually one of the main actors in the film. He's playing one of the main characters, which really, really excites me, because I'm just all for seeing Michael Keaton back as Batman. I want to see more of him. I'm really excited for this Batman Beyond, what looks to be a movie now. And I can't wait to see The Flash. I think the Muschietis are fantastic. I think this idea of having the Reverse Flash be the main villain is really interesting, and I'm all for it. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Right, moving on to, this is going to be, I suppose this is the Amber Heard section of the show. So she's admitted, basically. So before I go into the admitted bit, I'll switch these around. So the article that we ran was that Johnny Depp's new evidence against Amber Heard could prove she lied in court. So what is this new evidence against Amber Heard? Well, it's actually pretty damning. So I just need to scroll down to the right article. Here we go. So this was reported by the Daily Mail, so in the UK. They reported that Johnny Depp is accusing Amber Heard of pocketing the $7 million settlement from their 2016 divorce and repeatedly lying about giving it all to charity. Heard vowed to split the massive payment between two charities, but Depp lawyers believe it was a sham. His team spent the last year chasing the Children's Hospital Los Angeles and the American Civil Liberties Union to find out how much they actually received from the actress. So the ACLU has so far refused to cooperate with multiple subpoenas, but documents produced by the hospital and seen exclusively by DailyMail.com suggest it only received $100,000, way short of the promised $3.5 million gift. Bosses then became concerned and wrote to Heard in June of 2019 to ask if the pledge will not be fulfilled. Depp's lawyers claim correspondence is the smoking gun that proves Heard was lying when she boasted about the giveaway. Heard's attorney then said she'd already been responsible for 7 figures in donations to charitable causes and intends to continue to contribute and eventually fulfill her pledge. So this, again, I read that out, but that's the story here. The story is that Amber Heard was given a $7 million in the divorce settlement that she said she'd end up giving to two charities. So I think $3.7 million each. I believe, as far as the Daily Mail is concerned and the documentation, as far as it's like barely any of it's been given. So I think they've managed to find $100,000 that's been pledged, and that actually, but some people have reported that was actually donated by Johnny Depp. So that a lot of the money So the original arrangement was that Johnny Depp would give Amber Heard the money, and then Amber Heard would donate it to charities. But Johnny Depp's team and himself reportedly did not believe she would fulfill that pledge and wanted to give the money themselves. So that was where the $10,000 came from, is that Johnny Depp donated that himself, or his team did. And that was done in 2016, and she's had all the money received by Johnny Depp apparently since 2019, I believe she's had it, or maybe even before 2017, I'm not sure. But she never gave it. She was given it in varying amounts, like 1 million, 3.5 million at one point. You can go on the Daily Mail; it's all on there. And it really doesn't paint a very good picture for her, because she did, whilst under oath, claim that she donated that money to charity. And actually, Justice Nicol, in his ruling, said that someone that would donate that amount of money does not sound like a gold digger to him. He actually specifically used the term gold digger. So this really, really doesn't sound good for Amber Heard. And then at the end, the last bit I said is that Heard's attorney said she has already fulfilled, she's already been responsible for 7 figures in donations to charitable causes and intends to continue to contribute and eventually fulfill her pledge. So it's the word eventually that's got people quite riled up here, fulfill her pledge, because in court she said she'd already had done. So that in itself is, as far as I'm aware, perjury. So she lied in court, if the Daily Mail article is to be believed. So it really doesn't sound good for Amber Heard, and actually it's it's very, very good for Johnny Depp's team. It's obviously something they've been searching for and trying to get to the bottom of for quite some time. They've now got the documentation. So, and again, here's what Amber Heard said at the time when she talked about the 7 million settlements to donating it to charity. She said, as described in the restraining order and the divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity, and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. So then there was the eventually fulfill the pledge by her lawyer. It really doesn't sound good. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Have you heard of any new developments? Personally, I haven't. But do let me know in the comments below. I just said do. Right, moving on. The next story is to do with Ray Fisher. So he's been talking a lot on Twitter about all the Walter Hamada stuff. And actually, the most recent bit of news he's revealed on Twitter is that he basically denied that he's resigned as Cyborg from the DCU, which had been reported by multiple places, including the Wrap. I think the Wrap were the ones who reported this to begin with, saying that he's no longer going to be in the DCEU, sorry, not the MCU. So I'll bring up his tweet here. I strongly suggest that the Wrap amends this article immediately. While I appreciate the reporter's undying desire to Warner Brothers Pictures and Walter Hamada's bidding, it's factually inaccurate. I did not publicly step down from anything. So he's got a long thread here. He said, if Warner Brothers has made this decision to remove me from The Flash rather than address in any way Walter Hamada tampering with the Justice League investigation, that's on them. The idea of removing the role rather than recasting it is only being used to try to avoid public backlash. He then said, Warner Brothers PR teams struggled to retain control of the narrative ever since they failed to bury me and the Justice League investigation with the September 4th hit piece, which unsurprisingly was written by the same reporter. More on Warner Brothers PR and Joanna Fuentes later. I don't know if he actually said anything about her. The fact is, the Justice League investigation led to Warner Media and its affiliates parting ways with Joss Whedon. He then said Jeff Johns will be following suit. Had Walter Hamada not gotten his way, none of that would have been possible and the cycle of abuse would have continued. Finally, his 5 bits. My team and I are still in deep conversation with Warner Media regarding all the matters, and Flash or no Flash, we fully intend to see this through. I'll be keeping you posted, but in the meantime, thank you for your continued support. Accountability larger than entertainment. So it's pretty damning what he's saying. It was a long thread. He's basically saying he's not stepped down. He's not happy with Walter Hamada. He's not happy with Warner Brothers Pictures. He's working with his team. He says the whole news of him being removed from The Flash is a way to try and avoid a public backlash, which is interesting. I think there was a pretty big backlash against the news that Ray Fisher wasn't going to be in The Flash, and then also the recasting stuff. I just could not believe that. It just sounds completely bonkers to me. And then there's also been news about the whole Jeff Johns thing. Apparently Jeff Johns isn't leaving, so apparently he's not going anywhere, but Ray Fisher in his tweet said Jeff Johns will be following suit. That hasn't happened yet. We'll have to wait and see if it does. Basically, as far as looking at it from the outside, I really do think that Ray Fisher is kind of putting himself into a bit of a corner here, because the fact that Walter Hamada has this deal now with Warner Brothers, and basically he is the president of DC Films until 2023. Again, that contract can be ripped up and they can pay him off and just tell him to leave. That does happen quite a lot, actually. But as far as it looks like to me, Walter Hamada is going to be involved with DC Films until 2023. There are going to be a lot of films coming out to come out up until that point. Apparently 4 a year, with 2 of them being released on HBO Max. I do believe that's what he said, that there are going to be 4 DC Comics movies a year. 2 of them will be coming to HBO Max. I've seen other people claiming there are going to be 4 DC Comics movies and 2 HBO Max movies, making it 6, but that's not the case, at least as far as I'm aware. So there's a lot of movies to come out. I'm a bit worried about Ray Fisher, I'm going to be honest. I'm worried that a lot of this is potentially damaging his career. I really hope it doesn't, because I think he's brilliant as Cyborg. The other thing that I think will happen is that when Zack Snyder's Justice League movie comes out, it's said that Cyborg is going to have a much bigger role in that movie. I think people will end up feeling a lot warmer towards his version of Cyborg after that film. So after that film comes out, I do wonder whether that might end up just basically forcing Warner Brothers' hands and saying, look, we're going to have to keep him on board. We can't get rid of him. He's too good in this movie. I'm hoping that he's going to be really good in that film. That's what I hope happens. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the film. I don't know what's going to happen. That film, I think, is coming out in March 21st, I believe, was the date that was rumored for that release. So let's watch the film. Let's hope that it's good. Let's see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Even comment now if you want. You let me know what you guys think about all of that. Right, so moving on. And moving on to Warner Brothers rumored to be trying to get Christopher Nolan to direct more Batman films. So this comes from Giant Freaking Robot. And I'm going to be honest, I'm very skeptical about this piece, because I first off, Christopher Nolan's not happy with Warner Brothers. So why would he go and agree to direct more Batman films for them? The whole reason why... So Christopher Nolan directed these Batman films. They were great. But the last one was basically him saying, okay, I'm going to make this film for you guys. In return, you're going to let me do whatever the hell I want to do. And that's what they've been doing. All the films that he's done since then have basically, he's been given carte blanche to do whatever he wants. And that's why we've had the likes of Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet. He's not... I don't think he's going to turn around and direct another Batman film. The thing is, Giant Freaking Robot, they have some sources that are claiming that... here, I'll put it up here, what they say. So here's the quote. Warner Brothers has always wanted Christopher Nolan involved in the future of their superhero franchises, but he's always said no. Now, though, with movie theaters dying and Tenet flopping, word is that Nolan's stance on doing more Batman has softened and he's open to new ideas. My source, the same that has made Giant Freaking Robot the first outlet anywhere to break the news of Wonder Woman 1984 release on streaming, tells me Christopher Nolan is actually considering it. In the past, the auteur has flatly rejected the idea of returning to Batman. However, the very public failure of Tenet apparently rocked him to the core as a director, and he's far more open to the idea of returning to the world of Batman than he has ever been in the past. Here, sorry, you heard that last bit there. It's quite a long quote, but the reason I put it in there was because there's a lot in here that Okay, first off, I didn't know that Giant Freaking Robot were the ones to break the news that Wonder Woman would be released on streaming. But then again, a lot of people were saying that at the time. Tenet, is it a failure? That's the question that I want to ask, because given the circumstances, I really do not think Tenet is a failure. Tenet came out in a time where cinemas were closed, and it made some money. Now, it did lose money ultimately. It did. Actually, let's go and have a look. Let's go to Box Office Mojo, right, and see if this thing actually works. Right. And see how much the film actually made, because off the top of my head, I cannot, for the life of me, remember how much that film ended up making. The film, I believe, ended up cost about, was it like 400 million to make, right? Which is a lot. That's a lot. But it was originally going to be coming out in a time where cinemas were open. So domestic opening is 20 million. That's in the US alone. All right. I think one thing that they've got to do is really forget about domestic box office, because really that does not matter. So worldwide, it made 363 million. Okay. It made 363 million. And how much did it cost to make? It doesn't have. I am on IMDb Pro. Right. So budget 205 million. That was its budget. In order for a film to break even, it needs to make its budget twice. Basically, it needs to make twice the amount it costs to make the film. So really, what it needed to make was 410 million. It made 363 in a time where cinemas are closed. I'm going to say I don't think that's not a failure to me. That is actually really quite good, considering the fact that the film is crazy. It's difficult to follow. I'm not saying I'm not a massive fan of the film. I don't think it's his best film by far. I actually think it's one of his worst. But it's still a Christopher Nolan film, and I still think a Christopher Nolan film is better than most, even if it's a bad one. Because I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's his worst film. But if you look at his films, his back catalogue, they're all brilliant. There are some bad bits in some of them, some bits that I wasn't too keen on, but fundamentally they're really well made, really interesting films. This is another one. It's a really well made and interesting film. It's just a bit, the plot's a bit all over the place. It's more the idea is something that Nolan wanted to get forward. But the film, I really think it's not right to say that the film was a flop, because it couldn't really make any more than that, considering people couldn't go out and see the film. It might end up making more on VOD, through people, and maybe people still buy DVDs now. I don't think they do, but it might end up doing that. I think it's harsh to call it a failure. I really don't think this would make Christopher Nolan want to make more Batman films. Christopher Nolan was furious with Warner Brothers when they revealed that all their 2021 movies would be coming to streaming and in cinemas at the same time, but be coming to HBO Max. He did that wonderful quote where he said movie directors and actors went to bed thinking they were working for the best studio in the world and woke up realizing they're working for the worst streaming service. He's right. He's angry with Warner Brothers. I wonder whether he's going to work with Warner Brothers again. I'm pretty sure they're very keen on making sure that he would work for them. And that means to me that they wouldn't have him make a Batman film. They'd have him just do whatever the hell he wants again, because they know they messed up. Warner Brothers were in the wrong. Christopher Nolan was in the right. And his film didn't... In the circumstances, I really think it's harsh to say that the film was a flop. But let me know what you guys think about all that. There's a bit of a long-winded bit there, but let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on to apparently... Tim Burton's Addams Family TV series is reportedly going to be R-rated. So this is something that I've been, looking very closely at for a while. What's happening with Tim Burton's the Addams Family series? I'm very, very interested in it. I've been told some things about it from sources claiming that Johnny Depp is going to be playing Gomez Addams. At least now I've been hearing that he's interested to play the role, and they're trying... Tim Burton is trying to sort everything out so that he can get the role. Again, we still don't know where it's coming to. We don't know whether it's going to be on, which streaming service it's going to be on. It could be on Netflix. They're the ones that are reportedly trying to get the film. They're really, everyone's bidding on the film, on the series, sorry. But I'm pretty certain that it's going to end up on a streaming service. If it does end up on one, I think Netflix is the likeliest. We'll have to wait and see. But according to Daniel Rickman on his beloved Patreon page, the Addams Family TV series is going to be R-rated. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I have some thoughts and an opinion on this particular rumor. I think this is absolute rubbish. I think now, as I said, I've said this in previous episodes, Daniel Rickman gets things right. He does get things right. And that's why I do cover him, because he gets things right. The thing is, even a broken clock is wrong twice a day, is right twice a day. It's wrong most of the time, but it's right twice a day. An Addams Family TV series that's R-rated makes absolutely no sense. It's lunacy. Fundamentally, the Addams Family's for kids. It's a kids show. It was a kids show when it began. It was, a family-friendly show. You know, it's kind of spooky, yeah. It's kind of weird, yeah. It's kind of wacky, yeah. But kids love that sort of stuff. Some of the very best kids TV shows and programs have been really weird and really quite scary. But kids can see through that, and kids can see the fantasy and all of it, and the magic, and they kind of go for it. And actually, in the end, a relatively spooky show that has that handles pretty heavy themes tends to do very well with children. I do not think Tim Burton... Sorry, as my phone goes mad. I do not believe that Tim Burton, for a second, wants to make this R-rated. Tim Burton's made films for children before, and they've been really good. Really good. Frankenweenie is fantastic. That's a brilliant film. You know, The Nightmare Before Christmas he produced. It's really a very, very good children's film. He knows how to make really good children's films. Most of them are. Barely any of his films are R-rated. So why would he turn around now and develop something which is fundamentally for children and turn it into an R-rated TV show? It makes no sense. It would completely miss the point of the show, of the idea. I'm a massive fan of the Addams Family. I love the Addams Family, and I'm very much behind the idea of Johnny Depp playing Gomez Addams. I think he'd be brilliant in the role, but having it R-rated just makes absolutely no sense. It's stupid. Even the fact that Daniel Rickman would go ahead and say this is a thing is dumb, because I mean, I covered it, and I said reportedly, you know, it's if it does turn out to be true, I'll eat my hat that I don't have. I don't have a hat. I'll eat something on this desk. I will eat this. This is a microfiber cloth. I will eat this. If the Addams Family TV show ends up being R-rated, I will eat a microfiber cloth. I have a lot of them. I'll eat one of them. I don't think it would just be completely and utterly bonkers and make no sense and stupid. Right, now that I've had that little rant, let's move on. So we're in the TV section of the show. So there's a show that's on Netflix at the moment called The History of Swear Words, which is really quite interesting. It stars Nicolas Cage. He's like the host of the show, and then they go into into how swear words started. So I'm going to quickly tell you which swear words were covered in season 1. Fuck, bitch, pussy, dick, and damn. Right, now that I've probably been got rid of by Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube, let's talk a bit about the show. So the show is really interesting. It's a couple of episodes. I was emailing people about in conjunction with the show, who were involved in the show, trying to ask them what's going to happen. And one of them came back to me, and one person that works on the show, they will go unnamed, said, yep, sorry, when I was asking about season 2, I really wanted to know if season 2 was happening. And they had this to say. Yep, we're working on a season 2, and I can also confirm that Nick Cage is coming back to host the show in season 2. So Nick Cage is back. Season 2 is going ahead. It's something that they can film pretty easily in lockdown. So it's kind of a no-brainer. As far as Netflix is concerned and Nicolas Cage is concerned, it's quite a safe shoot. A lot of people in rooms just talking about things. They can do that. They don't need big sets. They can keep it very safe. So yeah, and it's also done pretty well. It's been in the top 10 of like most watched shows on Netflix for a couple of days now. So it makes sense that they'll greenlight season 2. The thing is, we're not going to probably hear anything from Netflix about this for a while. But I have also been told that it's probably going to come towards the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. So it's going to be quite a quick turnaround on this. There's not much editing required, so it kind of makes sense. And I think I'm all for it. I like this show. I like this series. I think it's quite interesting, and I think it works really well. And it's kind of not that expensive to make. I mean, Nicolas Cage might be quite expensive to bring back, but he seems to enjoy doing it. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving away from that and on to Bridgerton. So there have been lots of rumours going around about what the star of Bridgerton, Regé-Jean Page, he of course plays, I'm forgetting his name now in the show. He is Regé-Jean Page. Who does he play? He's the in Bridgerton. He's like the really sexy one. I'm forgetting his name. If anyone can remind me his name in the comments, that'd be really helpful. Right, he plays Simon Bassett. Is that his name? No. Yeah, I think. But he's got another. Like they refer to him in it. Simon Bassett. So he's something main cast. Here we go. Why is he not in like the main cast? The Duke of Hastings. That's it. That's what I was trying to remember. So he's the Duke of Hastings. He's he is one of the leads in the show. He is kind of blowing up at the moment. He is an actor that a lot of people have taken shine to because he is very good looking. And to be honest, when I watched the show, I thought he would be really, really good as James Bond. I then went to look at the odds, and the odds of him being James Bond were 20-1, which is much better than it's ever been for him. Actually, it was the first time he's ever been even involved in the conversation because he's a relatively unknown actor before Bridgerton season 1. And this, to me, really, I started to think, well, that makes so much sense to have him be Bond, because one of the things we've heard actually about who will be the next James Bond is that it actually might end up being a relatively unknown actor, not a big name, not a Tom Hardy, not a Michael Fassbender, not one of those, not even a Sam Heughan, because I think Sam Heughan would be terrible as Bond, or James Norton. They're the people that keep on coming up. Richard Madden also keeps on coming up. They'll be fine. They'll be really, really fine. But if they want someone for a long time, someone that will really invest themselves in the role, then Regé-Jean Page would be brilliant for it. He is young. He's 31. He's the right build. He would be the best looking Bond ever. Now, does he have the acting chops? Well, that remains to be seen. He's still relatively new in the business. He was very good in Bridgerton. I think he was really, really good in that. He's very good at being moody. But can he do action? Well, I think he could. So hopefully they're looking at him. But he was on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and he had this to say. So he said, if you're a Brit and you do something of any regards that people renown well, people are going to start saying the B word. I'm very glad to have that badge. I'm very glad to be in the company of such people who have the badge. But it's just a badge. So he's basically saying he's happy that he's involved, that he's in the conversation, but nothing's official. It's a badge, he's calling it, which is interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. But do you guys think he would make a good James Bond? Please let me know in the comments below. Right, moving on. And there's a lot of TV news to go through, so I'm only going to go through some of it. Loki is reportedly already has been renewed for season 2 on Disney+. So that comes from, again, Daniel Rickman. That's really good news. That means that the show is a hit already, and Marvel is very, very confident in that show. I'm pretty sure that's happening. A Grand Admiral Thrawn Origins movie is reportedly in development. I think that's rubbish. I don't think that's true. I think they'll just have Grand Admiral Thrawn be in the shows and the spin-offs, and The Mandalorian he'll be in, and probably the Ahsoka Tano spin-off series. that's it. I don't think he's going to have his own Origins movie because we already know his origins if you've read the books. Marvel's She-Hulk show confirmed to be 10 half-hour long episodes. This was by Kevin Feige. So he basically said that some shows are going to be, he said like WandaVision going to be 9 episodes, others so it's going to be all 6. So he said it's about 6 hours of content. Sometimes that'll be 6 episodes, sometimes that'll be 9 episodes, but in the case of WandaVision, sometimes that'll be 10 episodes. You basically have 10 half-hour episodes, which is what She-Hulk will be. So that's what he had to say about that. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Are you excited for She-Hulk? Right, so Kristen Ritter has been rumored to return as Jessica Jones in the She-Hulk series. So this is again Daniel Rickman. But then it came. The reason I ran with this is because of the story after that actually comes straight from Kevin Feige. So he's been doing a lot of interviews with various different people. This one. Sorry, it's to do. It was I think it was comicbook.com. Was that who it was with? Let me try and find it. So there's so much stuff to cover, so trying to find it all can be a bit tricky sometimes. Damn, I can't find the story. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I thought it was another one. So this was in an interview with Deadline, where he said, well, certainly you've seen what we announced at Comic-Con a year and a half ago and on Disney Investor Day a few weeks ago. So that's our focus, talking about the upcoming Marvel movies and TV shows they've announced. But I've been at Marvel long enough to never say never about anything. So that was after a question about the Marvel Netflix series, if they're ever going to be a revival. So he's giving us hope. He's giving us hope that we can see the likes of The Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist all return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There have been lots and lots of rumors. We ourselves have been told that John Bernthal is coming back and that Charlie Cox is coming back. So it sounds like they're thinking of bringing back the whole crew. So that includes Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, which is great news. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. I'm going through a lot of this quite fast because I haven't got that much time. Right. The Fire Gina Carano hashtag is trending once again on Twitter after she seemingly showed support of the recent riots. So people went through her Twitter and found that she'd liked some posts supporting the riots, the recent horrible scenes in Washington, D.C. of people storming the Capitol. Well, Gina Carano is an interesting one because she does not like to keep silent. So she then addressed the calls to have her fired from The Mandalorian when she was speaking to Drunk C-3PO, the YouTuber. So she said, I'm going to stick around, and if my presence bothers you, okay, but also a lot of people are not bothered by my Twitter presence or my social media presence, so I focus more on those people. I bring the fire out in people, I'm not sure why. So she's basically saying she's going to be sticking around for a while. And you know what? I think she will be. She's involved in the spin-off shows. That's pretty nailed on that she's going to be involved in those. So she's going to be around for a while. I don't think Disney's going to fire her, even if, I don't think someone should be fired for their political beliefs. If they're doing what, say, Trump did and actually actively trying to get people to riot and promoting hate speech online, then yes, I think you should be fired. But Gina Carano hasn't really been doing that as far as I'm aware. She's been... Yeah, she's made it very clear she's a conservative, she's a Republican. You should not be fired for being a Republican. I'm not. I know a lot of people aren't, but you should not be fired for believing, certain for following a certain political belief in the realms of whether it's Democrat or Republican. That's just nonsense. Now, if it's more hatred speech, then I do understand that. But no, I think she's going to be sticking around for a while. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. The Green Arrow and the Canaries show has been cancelled by the CW. It hadn't even started. They had basically the finale of Arrow was the first episode of Green Arrow and the Canaries, and the CW revealed that they're not going forward with that show. They are going forward with the prequel of the 100 series, so they're going forward with that. To me, this looks like they're winding down their DC Comics shows, so I'm pretty sure they'll end up cancelling or ending The Flash and DC Legends of Tomorrow. And I think Batwoman will end up being probably will end up in the DC kind of the HBO stuff. I think looks like that will happen because Javicia Leslie was reportedly spotted on the Titans 3 set as Batwoman. So that comes from the Vulcan Reporter. He is someone that has very good track record, so I really, really do believe what he says. And apparently she was spotted on set, which means that she might end up starring in Titan, or cameoing in Titans Season 3, which will then possibly give her a way into being on the HBO Max shows and having probably her own HBO Max show, and that might be the last CW one that they kind of do. Let me know what you guys think about that. Finally, the final bit of news is again Amber Heard. She's reportedly trying to get Gal Gadot to star in her rumored HBO Max Mirror series. Now, I do not believe this series is happening, just because there's so much heat around Amber Heard. Now, I think they might be thinking about doing it. I think they might be thinking of doing it. I think it's something that they have been contemplating. Walter Hamada apparently is he's a very big Aquaman guy, of course being a producer on that film, but apparently he's very keen on this, is what I've heard. But I really do think there's just too much heat surrounding Amber Heard at the moment. But apparently she's trying to get Gal Gadot to star or appear as Wonder Woman in her Mirror series. This again comes from We Got This Covered, so I'm really not sure about this. They said, this hasn't stopped rumours from making the rounds that Amber Heard's involvement in the DCU is only set to increase in the future, though. And we've now heard from our sources, the same ones who told us Ben Affleck would be back as Batman in The Flash long before it was confirmed, that she's talking with Warner Brothers about a Mirror series on HBO Max, and she wants Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman to be involved in it. Yeah, I mean, I understand why she'd want that, but I don't think it's going to happen. Right, and on that bombshell, guys, I'll say good night or good day, wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us, Small Screen, everywhere on socials. That's at Small Screen Co. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also like and subscribe on YouTube. That'd be great. You can go onto the site, which is at small-screen.co.uk, and give all the articles over there a read. You can, what else can you? You can listen to the show as a podcast. That's Small Screen Stories, wherever you get your podcasts. It'd be great to have a review from you guys as well on Apple Podcasts. If you could do that, give us 5 stars. That'd be really, really good. I know I went through things very quickly today, but Tuesdays is always going to be a long show because I'm going over all the news of the weekend, because I only do this show now on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That's just so that I can stay sane. Maybe one day I'll extend it back to the 5 days a week, but at the moment it's all I can do. So I'll do a longer form show on Tuesday for you guys, but I will end up going through a lot of the news quite quickly. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. You can follow me at on Twitter at EJ Lauder, and if you also want to write for the show, you can. You can email me at hello@small-screen.co.uk. Email me with your pitches. We do pay our writers, so it would always be great to hear from you guys, and I love to get people's written content about pop culture up on the site, because a lot of you are such actually very, very good writers, and you probably don't even know it. And I would love to hear from you. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers and goodbye.